So just starting right here, the next spot that we want to do is adjust what we've done down here in the body. So we're going to go ahead and highlight. I'm just going to click and drag and highlight this stuff. And as we've highlighted, I'm going to grab the whole thing right here, click and drag down. Notice that we get this little mini format bar that pops up if we highlight it with our mouse. We can go ahead and change our font size to 22.
You want that last page too, or leave that out?
You can leave that one out because we're going to change something on that. So we've changed that one to 22. And now what we're going to do is we're going to highlight these three things because these are what we would call little points that we're trying to make, right? We're going to make these descriptions. We're going to make these bullets, okay? So what we want to do is up here in this paragraph section, there's this little dots. If we just highlight that and click it, it will put, this is what we call a bullet. This is actually a picture bullet because it's just a circle. And this little arrow right here is telling us that there's an indent. That's what the arrow means. This is an indent going from here. Okay? Now, let's say for instance, we decided, oh no, what did I just do? I didn't want to put bullets in there. How do we undo the bullets?
Just press the bullet thing again.
We can click this little undo button up here or hit Control Z. And can anybody tell me if we've undone it, how many times, this is always one of my favorite questions, how many times can we undo something, a number, in Word? 10 is one, I guess.
Well, can't you do it
One.
nothing?
As many times.
As many times? It's not infinite.
Well, I thought you could do it till it's a
Until
blank
you
document.
change it. Until you change it.
You can undo that.
The number is actually 100.
Oh, cow.
So you can undo 100 things. So in a document like this, Cameron's right. I can come up here and I can just hit Control Z, all the way gone. Now the problem is you don't want to do that because now it's erased. But then there's this redo button right here. Control Y. Control Y will take it all the way back out. And it remembers, oh, it's going back and forth to the last one I did. So you can undo and redo a lot. So I always tell everybody, like Nora today had a little panic attack. I lost everything. You've never lost everything, right? You can always hit Control Z and it will undo what you just did. So if you do something and it just totally messes your paper up, Control Z. It'll go back to where it was right before that. Word remembers it. Okay? Now that does not apply to after you've saved the document, closed it, and reopened it. Okay? If you close the document, you come back in, you can't undo back. It's just the session that you're in right now. Okay? So we've gone ahead and we've undone, or we did it and then we redid it. Now we want to make sure that Bailey looks a little different here. So I'm going to double tap on Bailey. And I want to italicize Bailey. So if I wanted to italicize Bailey, what would be my keyboard shortcut? Control I. Exactly. It's going to slant that text. Now Bailey looks like it's a little sideways there. If we want to make the text a different color while it's still highlighted, we're going to go up to this A with the red underneath it. Right up here. When I click down on that, I get all my different colors. On this one, I'm going to choose blue accent 1, darker 25. Make sure you get that one exactly. Just kidding. Doesn't have to be the exact one. I think it's actually that one that they're asking us to do. It's the second one up on this blue line here. But if we click that, you can just pick a blue color, right? Where it's whatever you're designing. But that one, well, it'll change. We're getting there. You're jumping ahead. Yeah. So we're going to go ahead and we've used the mini toolbar, but we're going to scroll down and we're going to triple click on our signature line. We're going to highlight the entire signature line. So we've triple clicked it and I want to center it doing what, Samantha? How do I do it with the keyboard shortcut? Center it. Control E. Thank you, all the Samanthas. But Control E will do that. And now we want to change the size of this. So we're going to go ahead and bump it up. We're going to make this one font size 28. So we can go ahead and just grow it up to 28 there. And we also want to change the color of the text. So we're going to go ahead and drop down. Now notice once we use the color text once, it's no longer red underneath the A. It's actually the blue that we picked. So we could click this and it would automatically become that same blue color. But we're going to use a different color. We're going to go ahead and use like a purple, I think, in this one. Yeah.
What was the number?
What was the number what?
How big was it again?
28.
28.
And you can always see that if I'm highlighted on it, it shows it right up here. We're going to use a dark, deep purple. We call this royal purple of the depths. No, I don't know. Now, we've got this done. We have this one is now a little bit different, and we're going to highlight this last little section here, and we're going to actually do something different to this. If Control I is italicized, Control B is what? And Control what is underlined? Control U. Exactly. Control U will give us an underline on that. That helps us emphasize some text. And then once again, if I just want to grab everything in here, I just 1, 2, 3, triple click it. And I'm going to bold it with Control B because it might be on the test. And I want to remember that. And we've got this. Now I'm going to go ahead, even though it does it, I like to just hit save every once in a while. And so I'm at a good spot right now in my document. I'm going to hit Control S and save it. Now one of the things that Microsoft in their infinite wisdom has tried to show or give us is some tools that will really help us quickly. So when we use colors, they don't just give us a rainbow palette in Microsoft Office. They give us themes. And based upon the theme we select, it changes all the different colors that are available to us by default. We can always go in and pick any color we want, but it does give us a palette to work with. Kind of like I went to a painting class last night and we were working on a certain painting and they gave us 5 squirts of a certain type of color of paints that we were going to be using. We didn't need a black, so we didn't have black on the canvas or on our little painter plate that they gave us. So just like that, in here, if I wanted to look at the entire theme and realize, you know what, all the colors aren't exactly what I want, I can just come over here to change styles. And I'm going to change not just the style, I'm going to change the colors of the style. We're in the default of Microsoft Office, which is the Office style. And we can go down and notice as I highlight over these, all the colors are changing. Like this Apex one, we can see it's purple instead of brown now because it's altering all the colors in the palette that we've had. We want to pick something even more ugly than what we had before. So we're going to pick Aspect because nothing is worse than light brown other than dark brown, in my opinion. Right? So we're going to pick something really ugly. And I think I've already said this. I don't consider this a good class on design. This is just teaching us the tools. So if you ever wondered what to do, I would do the opposite of what this book has in it. But now that we have this really deep, rich, ugly brown to work with, you'll also notice that Bailey is tan instead of blue, right? And this bottom section is green instead of purple like it was. It's hard to see up on my screen, but if you look at yours, you'll notice that. Good. So now let's talk about selecting lines of text, just briefly. And our tests are all open book in here. So once again, this one on page 30 is probably a good one to remember. Anytime you see these little things that say table 1-1 or table 1-2, they're usually all the keyboard shortcuts that I'll be talking about. So it's good to remember those. But if we want to select text, we have a couple different ways of doing it. First, we can highlight the text with our mouse. But I always find this kind of cumbersome because it's like pinning the tail on a donkey when you're like, oh wait, I want that period, and then sometimes they'll jump past what you want. I actually prefer to use my keys because you can be very precise. But the problem is with the keys, how do you select it? Anybody know?
Gotta be at the beginning of where you want to start.
Okay, but if I want to go here, how do I select the text like I would with my mouse?
Control.
No, because control's going to move my arrow. It's going to move me every word. How do we select text?
Right, down shift.
Downshift? Is that what you said? Oh no, it's not a downshift. Okay. We hold shift. Yeah, we hold shift, and then we can move over and notice that it's highlighting just like we would. Now what's cool is all those keyboard shortcuts that we just learned about how to navigate still apply. So if I hold the shift key down, then I add the control key on top of it, and I hit to the right, it's going to grab every word. Right? Or if I hit shift control end, it grabs to the end of the document. If I hit, we can hold shift and just move up and down. So all those navigation things that we know, if we just add shift in with it, it makes it select the text. It's pretty good. That's pretty universal also on the internet and everything like that. Yes?